Hey everybody, this is Freddie Cohen of ESPN Radio. When I'm not talking about breaking news or breaking news on ESPN Radio, I'm always a fan and listen to the Detroit Sports Podcast, and so should you.
All I want to know is if you got your popcorn ready. Do you got your popcorn ready?
5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes!
I said, are you strong? They said, I'm strong if you strong. And I said, we strong then.
I'm a man. I'm 40.
Darren McCarty gets his shots in at Claude Lemieux. And look who came all the way out to try to help. Patrick Waugh. Oh, my goodness.
You are listening to the Doc and Jock Show on the Detroit Sports Podcast.
DetroitSportsPodcast.com brings to you the Doc and Jock Sports Podcast. I am the Doc, John Macaroon. Joining me, my favorite co-host, Adam the Jock Strozinski. What's up, cuz?
Dude, I love this weather. Looking out the window at our palatial studio in Sterling Heights. It's sunny, it's beautiful, it's warm. I'm in shorts and flip-flops over here. I got my little mandals on, showing my toes off. Dude, it is great. I love this weather.
And bro, you've already gotten out to the driving range. You've already beat me too. Lovely Facebook post I seen of you. You're looking all excited. Is there anything that you do that gets you excited? I mean, you're sitting there golfing and it looks like you're like getting tortured.
Well, it's because I suck, man. I'm horrible. Did you not watch that entire video? Like in the end of it, I'm just like, it's a catastrophe. I didn't even know my wife was filming me. She was sitting there trying to help me with my swing, and I can't hit my driver to save my life. And then finally I just like sat there and I shelved the driver and I went to my 4-iron, and that was even worse. So, but like I can hit my small irons great. My big irons, my driver is just an unmitigated disaster. So I was hitting my driver in the video, and it was bad. The other was, I think it was last Friday, I ended up going to the range as well. And I almost smoked out like a 6-year-old who was hitting behind me. Like, how do you hit your ball like down the line behind you? I did it twice. I almost murdered this kid and his dad. I felt so bad.
Well, I had a great weekend. I'm not going to lie. Last weekend was really fun. Not too often, me and the wife get a chance to go out to the movies. And finally, I seen a movie from start to finish that had me dying. Will Ferrell, Kevin Hart, Get Hard, worth every penny, worth the price of admission. And I got a funny story with that too. So we go to the MJR near my house, right? Mm-hmm. And I was a graduate of the University of Detroit Mercy.
Right.
13 years ago. To this day, in my possession, I have the student ID card. And to this day, anytime I go to MJR,
I use the card.
I go, hey, two adults, one student. My wife's like elbowing me, like, no, you're not going to do that. And I said, why not? It's maybe it's $1.50 off. Mm-hmm. And she's like, why would you do that? And I at the time had a full beard, and the girl doesn't even look. I mean, I pull it out and go, I'm a student. She's like, okay, punches it out and save $1. They
don't care.
Yeah, they don't care. So why not save $1? Yeah. Even though I'm in my mid-30s, I'm still trying to save $1 at the movie theater. $18 or $17.50 for 2 tickets, prime time.
It's expensive. I do the same thing, man. I got my Oakland University one. Like you can't even see my face anymore. It's like all been rubbed off. And like whenever I go, I'm always looking at the wife. I'm like, hey, do you got chairs on you too, so we can get double discounts here? And she was like, no. She's like, why would I have that? Why do you have yours? I'm like, for instance, like this? Like, come on now.
Well, perfect. So I saved $1.
You're not the only cheapo. Don't worry about it, bro.
Exactly. I loved it. So then you get off. Okay, good. You save some money. You feel good. You get into the movie theater, and the movie was absolutely hilarious. Lots of racial jokes. Will Ferrell and Kevin Hart have a great chemistry. All the jokes hit. It was hilarious from top to bottom. So my first movie review of 2015, Get Hard, was well worth the price of admission.
Must see.
Must see. It was so funny. And there's a scene with Will Ferrell in a restroom. That's all I'm going to say. It brought my wife and myself to tears, laughing out loud. It was so funny. It was a great movie, great time. And it's fun to get out of the house, and it's fun to see a great movie. And Get Hard was well worth it. I just can't say enough about it. It was funny. That's it. Sometimes when you go to a movie and it fails to deliver, it's just a bummer. But the movie did not fail to deliver, and I had a great time.
I'll have to check it out, dude. And I want you saying "get hard" like numerous times as a drop. So add that to the list there, bro.
Get hard. We got a lot to get to, cuz, on this podcast. The Tigers, wow, what a start. I mean, it makes us think like, wow, are we overly negative? Are we really objective with these Tigers? All the talk about the bullpen, all the talk about the weaknesses, and the offensive strength really carried them the last week. And, they had a hiccup early in the first game versus Pittsburgh. We had our first chance to critique Brad Ausmus in his use of the lineup, keeping Victor Martinez on the bench with the bases loaded. The Tigers started off with, if you look at the numbers, cuz, offensively, the numbers are out of this world.
This is their best start since 1985.
Yeah.
That's insane.
And over the weekend, you could almost ask yourself, can this team start 35-5? It's unbelievable with how the offense was picking each other up, how key hits. J.D. Martinez is still on fire, and it was just a great start to the season. I was thoroughly impressed, and it really made you sit back and go, wow, 6 straight games to start the season. Very impressive.
Yeah, most definitely. I don't think anything describes it better than impressive. The way this team is kind of firing on all cylinders, and it's just not on the offensive side. Their defense looks strong too. That pitching staff, that starting pitching staff looks great. They look outstanding. I think we've got a nice return on Alfredo Simon and Shane Green. I think those guys look solid, a little bit better than what I think both of us thought we would get with them. So I think it's possible out of the two of them to maybe get 26 wins this year, which would be nice. If we can manage that, each of them can come away with 13 wins this season. I think that has the Tigers sitting in a really good spot going forward. But I want to know, do you think it's more who they were playing, or is this the type of team that we can see for the next 162 games?
Great question. A lot of people were talking like, okay, now we're playing in the series versus Pittsburgh, obviously a better team, and they can do some damage to our starting pitching, and they can, put up some runs, and obviously they roughed up Anibal Sanchez in game 1, so they can do some damage. But you know what? All you can do is play the teams that are put in front of you. Teams like Minnesota and Cleveland are in our division, and you have to focus on the teams that you're playing. Minnesota is garbage, and so I looked towards the end of the season. We do play them a series, I think 1 or 2 before the end of the season, so that'll be key, because teams that are going to play Minnesota, I think, are going to have a strong edge, and because Minnesota is just terrible with the whole, especially with the whole Burt Blyleven mess. It was awful. Yeah, we play them the third to last series. So we play Minnesota, then Texas, then the White Sox to end the season. So it might, those 3 games versus Minnesota might be very important in the division race. Now, did you see the start that Kansas City got off to?
Yeah, I was gonna say, man, even going 6-0 and then dropping the first game against Pittsburgh, dude, we're still second in our division.
We're still second in the division, and Kansas City's bullpen, believe it or not, is even better.
Mm-hmm.
They are lights out. But now we might hit the age-old question, which is gonna perform better, the Tigers' offense or the KC bullpen. It's not going to be as easy as people think. There's going to be times where there's going to be lulls. There's going to be situations where the Tigers don't play as well, or they hit a couple, where they hit a stretch where they go 3 or 4 losses. But it's going to be important that we maintain this offensive efficiency. Unbelievable. There are guys, the majority of the top 6 are hitting over 300. Lots of key RBIs, lots of great hits. I mean, in the first 6-7 games, they were getting to over 10 hits.
Dude, we got 2 guys in the top 5 of batting average right now in the American League. And if you go to home runs, I think we've got like 2 guys in the top 10 there. So I mean, it's amazing the way this offense is going right now and just firing on all cylinders. I mean, and the thing is, it's like not just Cabrera and it's not just Victor Martinez. You got other guys picking up the slack and really helping generate runs. And the thing that's nice to see is all the speed on the base paths. I mean, they're stealing at an unprecedented clip, dude. They're running every chance they get, and they're manufacturing runs. It's insane. This team is the team that everybody wanted to see 3 years ago. When we don't steal enough, we don't play enough small ball, we don't do this, we don't do that. You got the guys who have power, and you got the guys who can get on base, and then you got guys who can just move those guys around. It's amazing to watch this team right now. I love watching this offense play.
How impressed are you with Gose at the top of the lineup? We thought he was going to struggle. Once opening day occurred and Rajah Davis played, and then Brad Ausmus inserted Gose, I was like, oh, I want to keep Davis.
Yeah.
But Gose has pleasantly surprised.
Dude.
I was shocked.
Yeah.
What's your opinion?
I think it's great. I mean, the fact that this guy can hit and just not just like he can drive the ball out. He can hit for average. He can move guys over, and he can steal bases. I mean, he's the complete package right now. It's great to see. It's nice to be able to have that center field position shored up because you got Rajai Davis who can come out there. He can hit the ball. He can get on base, and he can steal a few. You got Gose who can sit there, hit the ball, put the ball out of the park, steal a few as well. And that defense from both of those guys, it's not a huge issue. They're both very good defensively right now. Dude, pleasantly surprised. I don't think there's anything negative you can say about this team right now. I think they're a lot of fun to watch. You know, even though they dropped that first game against Pittsburgh, they still sat there and battled back and put 4 runs up and ended up losing by 1. You know, it's just, dude, I'm ecstatic to see what these Tigers are going to be going down the stretch here.
Yeah, we're giving the Tigers a lot of love. And right now, this is just nitpicking, but a couple things that you can see as areas of improvement or players that need to maybe step up a little bit more. Obviously, Ian Kroll comes in, doesn't play well. His control was a mess. His effectiveness, his first time out wasn't that great. And so a guy like Ian Kroll is just really kind of struggling to find his command. And you need a guy like that in the bullpen to kind of step it up. And we'll see if he can handle the pressure of being in that bullpen because his first couple of starts, not so great. And then Nick Castellanos. I want to talk to you about him for a few seconds here. Now, obviously, he's getting walks. He is producing. It's not one of those things where he's like a bum and a bust. But I want to talk about him relative to the hype that he came to the Tigers with. This guy was talked about by the organization, by everyone in baseball, as the next great can't-miss prospect. Mm-hmm. I'm not really seeing that. This is a guy that everyone talked about as when there were a lot of trade talks going on in previous off seasons. No, we're not trading Castellanos. No, we can't trade this guy. Relative to the hype, I'm saying he's underachieving in my book. I think that he has room for improvement. He's still a young player, being that he's still inexperienced. But just relative to the hype, I'm a little bit disappointed with Castellanos. I think he can do more, and I think he has the potential to be a guy that can be like J.D. Martinez. It's just that he hasn't shown it just as of yet.
I think you might be being a little bit too hard on him. You have to remember, this guy has been moved all around. He originally came in as a third baseman. They then put him out in left field. Then they brought him back and put him at third base. And then they brought him up right away. And then they were like, okay, now you got to produce. And he wasn't in the best of shape, and his defensive skill was lacking. And I think he spent the offseason really trying to fill out his body, fill out his frame, and work on his defense. So I think you have to at least give him this season and kind of see where he pans out, and hopefully water finds its level. You're right. His batting average sucks. His slugging percentage sucks, but his on-base percentage is decent. So like you said, he's drawing walks. He's getting to the bag. It's just you want to see more, and I understand that. I just think you have to give him a little bit more time.
Okay, yeah. Last season, he finished with a .259 batting average, .306 on-base percentage. Yeah, rough start to this season. But that's what I'm saying. Relative to the hype, you would think that this guy would perform a little bit faster. Now, maybe he will, But
I think the Tigers totally mishandled him. I think they stunted his growth by sitting there, because what happened, you end up moving Miguel Cabrera over to third, and they're like, well, we need to get this bat in the lineup, so let's throw him out in left field. So then he sits there and he has to learn how to play left, and it just kind of stunts everything that he was working on and everything that he was going through, I think. And then you bring him back and you put him back at third base. So I think just the Tigers, the handling of Nick Castellanos has just been poor from the get-go. And then you bring him up relatively early when he's sitting there trying to still learn his position and trying to really develop the skills at third base, because then you move Miguel back to first, and then you're going to sit. It's just a constant shifting of him and where he's got to be. And I know his defensive production doesn't necessarily affect his offensive production, but I think just the handling of the entire situation and his comfort level within the organization was probably rattled, and that's kind of stunted his growth, and it hasn't really allowed him to flourish yet. I think you give him this season, you kind of see where he pans out. You're right. It's been awful thus far. I mean, it's bad. It's not good, you know. But I think if you sit there, you give him a little bit more time, I think that power bat will come along, and I think that average will come up, and he'll end up kind of filling out. I don't think he's going to be this 300 hitter who just sits there and hits 25 home runs and gets you 100 RBIs. I don't think that's him. I think the Tigers totally overvalued him, and that's why they sat there and they tried shifting him around to try to get that bat in the lineup. But I think he can be a very productive player. You just have to give him a little bit more time.
And then Miguel Cabrera, what can you say? With each passing season, he's moving up the ranks of being considered one of the best Tigers hitters of all time. Once he's able to get dialed in with his swing, look out, he's lethal, and he's a player that we need to exhibit this type of hitting in the postseason. And that's why it's going to be important for him to stay healthy throughout the year, throughout the course of 162 games. And I think the expectations from the first week, in my eyes, have increased. I think this team can win north of 85 games, and I think they have a strong chance to take down the division. It's going to be important that they play consistently throughout the season. Now, we've done this without Justin Verlander. We've yet to see what he's able to do. With that, I'm so excited to break down the Tigers. I'm excited to see what this team can do in the future, and I'm really impressed with this defense. This defense is stingy, and we're not used to seeing that. I'm greatly impressed with the defense a little bit more than the offense, because based on the lineup that was put out there, you kind of knew, okay, going down, you're going to have a situation where the Tigers offense is going to be productive. By all accounts, everyone said, hey, this defense is going to be improved. But watching it live on the field, really impressive.
Yeah, dude, I totally agree with you. I think the defense has probably been a little bit more of a pleasant surprise than the offense has. Just the quickness and the efficiency that they are playing with. In inserting Jose Iglesias, what a 180 for that infield. That guy makes so many other things possible for this defense. I mean, it totally helps Nick Castellanos out over there on third because of the range of Iglesias. On top of that, working double plays with Ian Kinsler, just amazing, dude. These guys, they have a nice repertoire going on. They have a nice relationship already developed. And just stunned at the way this defense is playing right now. It's totally impressive. I think it's one of the best things about this team right now, because even if you get into those tight games where it's a one-run game, you're sitting there trying to nurse a lead, I feel confident that this defense will sit there and will be able to play well enough to get you that win, even if the pitching is a little bit suspect. And that bullpen, dude, we've talked about it, that bullpen, they have times where they look really good and look really efficient, and there's times where they just come out there with the gas cans and set themselves on fire. And I think that defense is going to sit there, and I think it's going to hide a lot of problems.
I think you and I have to work on a name for him. It's still early in the season, but Steve Chimenti on Twitter is already asking, what's the name for this bullpen? What's the name for the 2015 bullpen? And I had to respond to him and tell him, hey, man, relax. It's only the first week of the season. We don't have a name yet. My first thought was bench warmers because the starters were going early on.
So well,
they were doing so well. I'm like, okay, let's call the bullpen the bench warmers, where if they can stay on the bench, the better off we're going to be. But if this offense can continue to provide a lot of spark, and if they don't give up in games, then hey, this could be a really successful season, far exceeding everyone's expectations. I really like this kind of team. This is a different kind of team. This is a team that's been built a little bit differently, and I'm really kind of impressed with the start. And that's all you can ask for in the first week is, hey, play good baseball, keep yourself in it, and wow, I wonder if Kansas City is going to keep on this pace, because their team was supposed to be weaker, and they've gotten off to a hot, unbelievable start. That's a good team over there in KC.
I think this team, the nice thing about it is they take on their manager's mentality. And I think this team is kind of constructed in the image of Brad Ausmus. They're fast, they can run, they sit there and they do things defensively that Joe Madden used to do. You know what I'm saying? You used to see the infield shifts, and the way this team is defensively, it's very impressive. It's nice. Offensively, they can swing the bat. I mean, what can you say about that offense? 2 through 7 is devastating. It's absolutely devastating. So I like the way this team's going. I know it's early in the season, and I know we're really pumping them up. We're giving them a lot of love right now. But just the way that they've played thus far, and just the return on investment. I mean, these guys look really good out there right now, and they look like they're having a lot of fun. A lot goes into what happens in that locker room and how these players react and interact with each other, you know? So I like what this team's doing. I like how they look. I think it's great right now.
In the upcoming week, we got a series this weekend versus the White Sox, 4 next week versus the Yankees, and then next weekend 3 games versus Cleveland. So it's going to be an interesting time. It's going to be a good first month, and we are all awaiting to see when Justin Verlander is going to come back and what is he going to produce. What is he going to add to this Tiger team? It's going to be great to see. We're going to take a commercial break, and then after the break, the Dean of Sports is on the line.
The Dean of Sports.
I know for sure he's got a lot to say about the Tigers. We will go to him next after the break. If you're a fan of Michigan, cuz, then you have to check out uofmdiehards.com. Check them out on Twitter. Check out their Facebook page. They are a page that's dedicated to all things University of Michigan. They follow every game. They follow recruits. They have great interviews. UofMDiehards.com. Doc and Jock, check out that website quite a bit. If you're a fan of Michigan, there's no better website to check out than UofMDiehards.com.
I'm go blue, baby.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for your support. Lots of ways to support us here at the podcast. If you like what you're listening to, if you enjoy the podcast, if you want us to continue to provide great content every Monday and Thursday, if you want us to continue to take phone calls, just go to our website, DetroitSportsPodcast.com. Click through those banner links. Lots of great online deals. I know everybody that's listening likes to save money. DetroitSportsPodcast.com. Click through those banner links, bookmark them, and every time you shop online, nothing extra happens. You get charged no more money. But when you shop online through DetroitSportsPodcast.com, they kick us back a little something, and we can continue to provide great content. DetroitSportsPodcast.com. We greatly appreciate it. Yes, sir.
You ain't gotta say too much. Hate when you say that I play too much. When I get too close, I'ma touch that subject. I could read your body. Enough said. Quit.
DetroitSportsPodcast.com. Doc and Jock, episode 88. Stay tuned a little bit later in the podcast. We got a special announcement regarding a new sponsor here at the podcast. After a little over a year and a half, we've picked up a lot of new sponsors. A lot of people want to get on board with Doc and Jock. They want to say, well, who are these guys bringing the noise every week? And we got a new sponsor we get to talk about a little later on. So stay tuned. But right now, the Dean of Sports, Dean Laddiser, is going to join us talking about the Detroit Tigers. Dean, how are you this evening? How are you?
I'm kicking it with my homies. I love the bumper there. It's great. I was listening in. I was taking my place in line here, and wow, I'm happy to be here on this day because you guys are fired up and ready to rock and roll.
What's your reaction now to the first week of the Detroit Tigers? I mean, they played a great series versus Minnesota and then dominated Cleveland, a team that all the pundits were saying, hey, this could be a team that could take down the AL Central.
And listen, I want to dovetail on what you guys said about, I think this is a balanced team, which has always been our concern. Finally, we've got a great balance of defense, which will forgive a bunch of mistakes, and we've known the power on the plate. We've known the power of the starting pitching. So we've kind of got three legs there of that table that are really, really strong and sturdy. The problem is that fourth leg, our relief pitching, is probably about a quarter, maybe a half inch, a little bit shorter than the other one. So that's what makes our table a little wobbly here. I like what I see. I like what I see in the defense. I think you guys hit the nail on the head earlier. And I also know that our starting pitching is going to be phenomenal. It's just, again, you hold your breath in the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning, and I mean it's been our Achilles heel now going on 3 years.
Dean, you think Joe Nathan's going to come back and reclaim his spot as closer? Because at this point, I'm hoping Soria holds on to it for the rest of the season.
You know, I have to be careful because I'm closer in age to Joe Nathan than you guys. I think in the case of Soria, I would like to see that. I think that was the intent all along when the Tigers picked him up from Houston, is that they had that in mind, that he was the heir apparent. I just think that right now it's Soria's to lose, not necessarily Soria's to keep, because again, we've got a very analytical manager there. He's going to sit there and ride the hot hand as long as he can. And you know what? I hope Soria continues to do well. I've been pleased with what I've seen so far.
Now, Dean, we get a chance to nitpick. I mean, obviously it's a 6-1 start, but it's a great chance to also look at maybe a player that we need to step up that maybe didn't in his second go-around, Anibal Sanchez. If you really look at him, he's a pitcher that is really effective through 6 innings. But once he gets through that 7th and 8th inning, his effectiveness goes way down. And are we reading too much into his performance versus Pittsburgh, where he gave up a ton of home runs, already given up more this season than the entire season last year?
If you expect guys to go 9 innings, that's just not the way the game is played anymore. I'm a little older than you guys, and I know that watching the Tigers in the 60s and 70s, you'd watch a guy like a Mickey Lolich go. He'd pitch 9 innings, and then he'd also wind up raking the infield when the game was over. The game is set up to get to the 6th inning with the starters. In some ways, that's where these guys pace themselves. I think Sanchez is a fine pitcher. I think he will do well. He's kind of a secret stopper there whenever Price and when Verlander comes back. I think Sanchez is kind of that guy in the rocking chair, which was the job Scherzer had last year. That said, if you know that you're only going to get 120 pitches out of him, that he's only going to go to the 6th, then you want to be stacking your bullpen accordingly. You want to prepare in advance for that. So you want to know who you're going to bring in. And, that's the way the Tigers have got to construct his outings as opposed to somebody like a Price or a Verlander who's going to go 8 1/4 or 7 really strong innings and wants to be that bulldog and try to pitch the complete game.
Dean, what do you think has been the most impressive part of this team so far this season? I know it's early, and like John said, we get to kind of nitpick and we get to kind of sit there and we get to point out all the flaws of this team. But what's been the one thing that you want to give a gold star on?
JD Martinez 2.0. I mean, everybody talked, oh, my God, he came over and, wow, he had a career. And I'm not saying, and I've heard some people say, that people are now starting to read him, especially that he likes to swing on first pitches. At the same time, there was a reason, and I think Dombrowski is still a great evaluator of talent. And I think that you look at, I was looking at the Tigers stats coming in while I was waiting on hold, and I think that he is going to mature, and he is going to actually be that next great talent that we recognize here in Detroit. I mean, I don't want to use words like star or superstar, but I think we're going to recognize that this guy was truly a diamond in the rough, and he's going to make a difference as he matures and gets comfortable again. You guys also mentioned in the infield, having a world-class shortstop, a real defensive shortstop, really helps him as well because he can then understand the position better. He doesn't have to overextend himself. Instead, he's got the ability to be there on third base and really do what a good third baseman does.
Do you think, well, speaking of Nick Castellanos, do you think that he's going to kind of snap out of this kind of funk that he's in early on and he's going to become this productive player that he was billed to be? I believe that John, I think, feels a little bit down on him right now, and is looking for the next big third baseman to come up and bring him into the majors here.
Well, we're anywhere between when people are listening to this 7 to 9 games into the season. Obviously, there's a lot of momentum going out of the Tigers, and it's easy to take onesie twosies here and say, but the point you guys made in the beginning, it looks like they're having fun. You lost one of your key people on the field, so the energy is different, the nucleus is different, the psychology is different of it. But if a team looks like they're cohesive, they're having fun, then they're going to look over and they're going to say, oh, okay, this guy, he's doing the job. I need to pick up my game because that kind of driven ego. Again, nobody wants to let down the other guys in that clubhouse. I mean, they know that they've been miscongeniality too many years in a row here. They want, I'll tell you, if we got everybody on that starting lineup and everybody on that bench in a private moment, they would say, we want to win this for Mr. I. We want to win this for Mr. I because he ain't getting any younger. He got his stadium. He's got his 4 Stanley Cups. But it's that one part that Mike Ilitch wants. He's a former minor league ball player, and I really think that cohesion of that team, we don't talk about it enough, but golly, we have been blessed to have him as an owner, and I really think those players really, really want to win it for him.
I believe that the only thing keeping Mr. I alive right now is the drive to win that World Series.
I couldn't agree with you more.
Whenever we win something, they always dust off the mothballs and bring him out, and they kind of prop him up. He looked really bad 2 years ago at that at the trophy presentation for the American League championship. There, I was like, whew, just you guys got to win it this year because I don't know how much longer he's got.
Well, I think with all that money, he could afford a little bit better hair, but
you don't like that.
I don't know where he's picking up that roadkill, but. I did a tour of duty for the Ilitch organization, and all teasing aside, Mike and Marian Ilitch, when you're in their presence, they're like the Velveteen Rabbit. They're the real people. You don't get a lot of airs or condescension from them. Sunday off the air, I'll tell you a couple of kid stories there, because when you work in the organization, you hear a few things. But, Mr. and Mrs. I, gracious, wonderful people, and whether it's Olympia Entertainment, whether it's the Tigers or the Wings, whether it's Little Caesars or Blue Line Distribution, everybody, they have that cohesive person they point to. And so I know that the players have got to feel the same way as pizza makers and truck drivers and ticket takers.
Host of On the Dean's List podcast comes out every Wednesday. You can find him on Twitter at DeanLad08. Dean Laddiser, kind enough to give us a few minutes. Now, Dean, I want to get you out of here on this. From time to time when we have guests, we want to pick their brain and get a sense of their passion for sports. So I want to ask you this. You got 4 tickets to any sporting event, any sporting venue you can go to, and you can take 3 other people, dead or alive. What event would you go to, and who would you take?
I can tell you right now, I would go to a Stanley Cup Finals game. I would take my late father, Norman. I would take my late grandfather, Walter. I would probably take my son, Eric. And I would probably, I'd love to take you guys, but there's also another friend of mine who is not a sports fan, and I would take him to have that experience. Being a French Canadian, there's a lot of hockey in my DNA. My grandfather, Walter, I would take him, and I would bring back his sight. He was a radio telegrapher. He worked at the old Brick Stadium and did the scores there long before the internet, when they had the Western Union, and he was also in the Bay of Fundy explosion there in Halifax, which is a very seminal event in Canadian history. My father, Norman, played semi-pro ball. He came over from Canada and became an American citizen, and he was a CB, and in between fighting in the Pacific Theater, he also played a lot of baseball. My son Eric, who's not the greatest sports fan in the world, but I remember seeing sports games with him, and he was always, we always had good memories on this. And then my friend Rosh Sillers, who, again, not a great sports fan, but it's always great to show people excellence, because Rosh is kind of my collaborator in my business life, and we use, in business you use a lot of sports analogies. In fact, Mike Babcock loves seeking out CEOs because he uses a lot of their wisdom in his coaching and his management style. So I'd like to have that opportunity to show to Rosh 2 great top-tier teams contesting for the ultimate prize. So definitely would love to see a Stanley Cup Finals game with those 4 people, or those 3 people.
Dean, thank you so much for dialing us up. We greatly appreciate your time and your insight. The Sports Dean always delivers. Hopefully one day we can work that out between our schedules and have you in here. Have a good chat, pick your brain, and get some inside information from your time working with the Tigers organization.
Take care, guys. Always the best.
Thanks, Dean. Take it easy.
I'm kicking it with my homies. I love the bumper there.
Dean Laddiser, that guy's got a lot of information. He's got a lot of passion. He's a good dude. I like Dean. I like always chatting with him.
He's well-connected.
Well-connected. Yes, sir. All right. It's time for another round of The Doctor is in Session. Always a great time. I'm very curious as to what you got for me this week. I'm well prepared. I got my sports game knowledge up, and I'm ready to deliver. So let's do this bad boy.
But to be the man, you got to beat the man. And I'm saying, woo, right here. I'm the man. Woo!
It's been a busy week, so hopefully you're studied up and you've got your little got your books out and you sat there and you watched enough Sports Center to get caught up on everything. Do you see Jordan Spieth taking the torch of the new must-see golfer, almost like Tiger Woods at 21 years old?
Wow, cuz he came out and dominated the Masters, and it's just one of those great stories where a guy that worked his whole life to achieve a goal actually achieved it. He dominated from
whole life. He's 21, dude.
No, but he said he dominated the amateurs, and all the interviews he would say, "Hey, my dream goal is to win the Masters." So he tailored himself to be able to creatively putt. He worked his game, and he was able to take down one of the richest prizes in golf at the age of 21. A lot of people thought that it would happen because last year, in his first go-around at the Masters, he got second place, and he was able to dominate, and he was just one of those players that you could see, okay, he just needs to be able to close. It's not that easy when you're about to achieve the richest prize, the Masters. It's got a storied history. The green jacket ceremony, the legends of golf have worn that green jacket. And his first go-around, he faltered at the end. This go-around, start to finish, and he dominated. Now, to the question that you asked, can he reclaim or can he become a Tiger Woods? No. And the reason why is this. If you really look at his game, he's got a game that's really suited for the Masters course. He's a creative putter that can get hot, but from time to time when he struggles, his putter goes off. And the significant difference between him and a player like a Rory McIlroy is Rory McIlroy's got easily 20 to 25 yards longer on his drives. So Jordan Spieth is, in situations where he might be hitting a 7-iron, Rory will be hitting a pitching wedge. So that's why I think a guy like Rory, if he puts it together more weeks than not, is a better player. But the great thing is another player's come up that we can watch that hopefully can take that next mantle. Everyone is always looking for the next Tiger, and everyone wants to anoint the next guy. But I just think that everyone needs to pump the brakes, relax. Let's see now how he handles some success, how he handles being the guy. He's 21 years old. His game is going to improve. He's going to be a guy that is going to be around for a while. And I don't think that based on his temperament and his maturity, dude's 21, he's talking like he's 40. Very mature. I don't think he's going to have any, scandals in his 30s that could derail his career. So now we got another guy that's come up that's going to make golf exciting. And oh my gosh, let's just hope this year in 2015, Rory McIlroy, Jordan Spieth, final round, ratings will be out of this world. Great job. Really good performance.
It'll be great to see. I'm going to disagree with you a little bit. Ever since last year, when I got put on notice about this guy, I've just kind of tuned in to always see what he's doing, always kind of keep abreast of how he's playing and what's going on with him. So I think just from my own point of view, I think he's already like the next Tiger Woods because I'm tuning in just to see him. I want to see how he's playing, what he's doing. I tuned in just to that final round just to see how he sat there and capped off that evening. And even Saturday night, I was sitting there watching his masterful play. He sat there and botched the shot on the 18th on Saturday and sat there and he basically turned chicken shit into chicken salad. It was amazing with this chip shot that he ended up making where he just kind of rolled it down onto the green. So from that point of view, I'm going to say he's already there. But I respect your opinion. Let's move on to the next question. What was your reaction to this pile of garbage? Eric Ebron sounding off on Twitter about fans hating on him.
Why? Eric Ebron. That last weekend of Twitter was really outrageous. Let me tell you why. Let me tell you what I read on Twitter. Not only did Eric Ebron have the gall to start questioning the haters on Twitter, but Brandon Jennings earlier in the day tweeted out that just randomly was thinking like, in my opinion, I think that Chris Brown is more talented than Michael Jackson. And dude blew up Twitter with that. He got into a Twitter war with a lot of people.
What is it with Detroit athletes and Twitter? What's wrong with these guys?
Yeah, it's one of those things where Brandon Jennings got a lot of time on his hands, but to come out with that take, how are you going to mess with Michael Jackson?
What the hell is that about?
So, and then now Eric Ebron piles on, and I can honestly tell you, I don't blame him because imagine the hate that he gets every day.
It's all deserved. Catch the ball. That's your job.
Yeah, but I'm sure
catch the ball.
I'm sure some of the things that he's heard have been vile.
Good.
And nasty.
Good.
Yeah. So his job as a professional athlete, that's what they pay you to do, is to not respond to stuff like this. It's really ridiculous. It's really pointless for him to do it because what happens when an athlete goes on Twitter and says, I'm bothered by all the hate? The hate just keeps
coming in.
Haters gonna hate. Lovers gonna love. That's just how it is. That's what Twitter is. So if you're not mature enough to handle it, then stay off of Twitter. Guys like me that love to be on Twitter, and I'm not a pure hater. I like to, tweet at athletes some funny stuff and things like that. But, keep it respectful. But if you can't handle it, we get stuff all the time. We get stuff that, wow, you guys are awful. You guys are trolls. This is the worst take. We get people that tweet at me, oh, unfollowed. I get people that tweet me and say, hey, you're now unfollowed. Okay, great. I respect that. I respect the time that you did spend following us. I hopefully gave you some entertaining knowledge, tweet out people, let you hear what the Detroit fan has to say. But if you tweet something negative at me, I don't take it personally. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. My Twitter numbers are going to keep growing too. But, I understand what it is. If you like us, great. Listen to us. If you don't, there's a million other podcasts. There's a million other radio shows. I don't mind at all. I appreciate the criticism, and I welcome that. But if you're not mature enough at your age, making millions to handle it, thumbs down, boo to you.
All right, you're the perfect person to ask this question and to respond to it because you have a specific take on Greg Monroe and what he does with the Pistons. So rumor and speculation, specifically coming from Frank Isola, out there with New York, reported that a deal is practically done with the New York Knicks for Greg Monroe to play there next year. So does Greg Monroe end up a Knick, and are the Pistons a better team if this happens?
In thinking about the Pistons and the way their season ended, it kind of now is officially a disappointment. They didn't make the playoffs. They haven't made the playoffs now for several seasons in a row, and it's the first time that Stan Van Gundy has not made the playoffs. So he's experienced this now for the first time. First part of the question, are the Pistons a better team without him? I mean, they can play well, but a guy that's such a strong presence in the post, I don't think you can say you're a better team. Can they function well without him? Yes, Dan Van Gundy will get this team playing right. But will he end up a Piston next year? I don't think so. I think if he looks at himself honestly in the mirror, he can get more money elsewhere. He can get a better experience. But do I think he's going to end up with the Knicks? You know, if he's tired of the losing, if he's tired of negative attitudes and being around negative locker rooms, why would you go to the Knicks? That situation there, it's horrid.
It's a
horrible.
bigger dumpster fire than the Pistons.
Exactly. So I do think that he's going to get a significant offer from the Knicks. They're going to make a play for him, and I think he's going to like that. But is it the best offer? If it's the best offer, he probably will take it with the Knicks. But I do think he's going to enjoy shopping himself, being a free agent, getting wined and dined. But I would think personally he should look for a better situation for him, and the Pistons can recover without him. You got a big. You got Andre Drummond, who is getting better year by year. You can replace him. The issue with him is his weakness is defense. And when the Pistons struggle, they don't play as well as a team, as a unit on defense. So will Greg Monroe be a Piston next year? 99% no. Will he be a Knick? I would say 40 to 50% he's a Knick next year. He should really look to go to a better team. Otherwise, he's going to have a career where it's going to be one of those things where he looks back on and he did a lot more losing than winning. And that would suck. He deserves better. I mean, he's been through what? 5-6 coaches in 5-6 years. He needs to go to a team that's more stable, like a Chicago or like a Cleveland, that can, utilize his talent and get him some success. Take a little bit less money and go to a winning team. That's what he should do. But if he wants the money, I think the Knicks are going to back it up, and we'll see what happens, what he decides.
You want a bonus question?
Sure. I always love talking. Who doesn't?
All right. So a lot of talk on all the talk shows, on TV, even on the radio. Who's going to be the MVP of the NBA? And there's a lot of good candidates, a ton. You got Steph Curry out there with Golden State. You got James Harden out there in Houston. You've got Westbrook with OKC. I mean, just guys right off the top of my head, you know what I'm saying? Who do you have winning the NBA MVP?
Ooh, very good question. A lot of people are talking about it. And this is one of those years where you kind of start looking at, okay, what really is the most valuable player? Is it the guy who's the best player on the best team? Is it the guy where if you took him off of the team, they would struggle? My opinion is this. When the votes are tallied, Steph Curry will be the winner because that media market out there has pumped him up. He is a great player on a great team, and I think when the votes are tallied, he will win. Is he the MVP in my eyes? No. Well, judging by what I'm seeing, James Harden is the MVP. I think he's a guy that has carried the Rockets without Dwight Howard. You got to remember, he went there as part of a package. James Harden and Dwight Howard are supposed to go there and dominate. But like we all said, Dwight Howard is one of those guys that is not really a gamer, game in and game out. So James Harden has literally had to carry the Houston Rockets. You think the Rockets are a playoff team without Harden? Hell no. Hell no. James Harden has single-handedly put that team on his back, and without Dwight Howard, has made them a legitimate contender in the West. Now, Steph Curry, though, oh my gosh, unbelievable player, but he's got help. He's not the only piece of that puzzle. You got Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, you got a new coach. Come on now. He's part of a system that's really successful. But he broke his own three-point record. He's a player that can just light up. He can light up the scoreboard. He can put up points in a hurry. But in my honest opinion, based on what I'm seeing and his performance and his growth, the most valuable player to his team and the most valuable player in the NBA is James Harden. And I wouldn't put, Westbrook, yeah, he's done a lot too to carry OKC. Dude takes a lot of shots. A lot of people will always say, as long as there's MVP talk, LeBron James should be included in that conversation. But he struggled a couple months early in the season in his transition with the Cleveland Cavaliers. But I'm really hoping that they really take a serious look at James Harden. That's where my vote would go.
Interesting. Very interesting. I don't think you can go wrong either way with Steph Curry or James Harden. I don't know. It's going to be fun to see how this kind of plays out down the stretch here. So nice take. It was fun. That was good. You did a good job there.
Yes, sir. And
You stood abreast of everything that happened in sports over this long extended weekend that we just had here.
Yeah, whenever the rundown comes out and the Dachshund session's on it, I got to step up because you always bring the noise. So, yes, sir. Got to do what you got to do.
That's awesome, dude. You did good work.
Stay with us after the break. We're going to talk about the Red Wings and what are their chances to legitimately beat Tampa Bay and advance out of the first round of the playoffs. Stay tuned. All right, cuz we have got ourselves a new sponsor.
Uh-oh. What?
Jersey Mounts by Sport Displays. You can check them out at our website at the sponsor page. Sport Displays Jersey Mounts are the easiest and most affordable way to proudly show off your favorite jersey, uniform, sweater, t-shirt, or costume. With its unique design, Sport Display Jersey Mounts are the only hangers on the market that can be mounted to any surface. The mounts can be mounted to glass, plastic, cement, pull-up banners, signs, trade show caging, brick, cars, windows, and of course to either wall or ceiling. This allows for easy access to your favorite jersey on game day by simply snapping the rod into or out of the holder. With its unique design, Sport Display's jersey mounts can be installed quickly and also allows for you to make every day into game day with its innovative mount, snap, hang feature. Simply snap the jersey mount on and off to gain access to your favorite jersey. Sport Display jersey mounts are the only jersey mounts around that allow you to customize the hanger itself. You can brand the jersey hanger with names, numbers, slogans, quotes, stats. If you have a child, put your child's stats on the jersey hanger to create a lasting memory and keepsake. Let everyone know that your child was born a Red Wing, Pistons, Lions, or Tigers fan. Sport Display jersey mounts are affordable, easy to install. They can be mounted anywhere to both wall or ceiling. The mounts can even be customized on up to 3 sides of the bar. Sport Display jersey mounts allow for easy access to your favorite jersey, uniform, or costume when you need them the most. Check out jerseymount.com and get yours today. That's jerseymount.com. Get your jersey mount and hang your favorite jersey on the wall anytime, anywhere. Check them out. Definitely check out the guys at the Detroit Sports Nation, DetroitSportsNation.com. Great website. They are unbelievable. They are killing it on Facebook. Give them a like at their Facebook page, Detroit Sports Nation, and definitely check out their website, DetroitSportsNation.com. Our collaboration with them has been excellent, and they continue to be a strong presence here on the podcast because they bring the noise and they have great content. So thank you guys again. We can't thank you enough.
You're the future of our business, and I know when you guys have a podcast like this, our future is in good hands.
You got to check out their stuff. I mean, I'm really impressed by it. You guys have probably one of the better ones I've seen in the country.
Wow.
In a short period of time, you've done good work. Look at me kissing your hand.
I know.
DetroitSportsPodcast.com, DocNJock, episode number 88. Time has come, cuz tonight everyone's going to get a chance to watch the first game of the NHL playoffs. We've all been waiting since October, since the Red Wings went out to Traverse City to kick off training camp. We've all said, hey, let's wait till the playoffs. They have earned it. 24 consecutive seasons in the playoffs. And now, what a great matchup. I'm so excited to talk about it. The Red Wings are going on the road, game 1, to face off versus someone that we know and are familiar with, General Manager Steve Yzerman and his Tampa Bay Lightning. It's going to be, this matchup is probably the best one that the Red Wings could have gotten. I mean, we don't want to play Montreal. We don't want to play the Rangers, who have been hot, or Ottawa. My goodness, they really were on a streak like no other. We're going to play a Tampa Bay team that we just saw recently. We shut them out 4-0. This series has so many wrinkles, has so many things that we can talk about. When you look around, when you look at the pundits across the board, everyone has hate for the Red Wings. Nobody thinks that the Red Wings can win. I'm not gonna let you in on what I'm thinking, but I do think they got a better shot than most people think. I know I'm excited to talk about it, as are you. What are your initial thoughts about the Wings taking on the Tampa Bay Lightning?
I love this matchup. I think this is great. The thing that is most intriguing to me, it's not just who's playing goalie, but it's everything that Steve Yzerman and the Tampa Bay front office is doing to Red Wing fans down in Tampa Bay. Like, if you're wearing a Wings jersey, you're not allowed in the stadium. They are trying to turn that into a pit down there. that being said, I mean, it's Tampa, man. Like, they don't really sell out hockey games. And I mean, it's not like Florida. It's not like the Panthers, but it's not that great either. But what they're trying to do is they're trying to give their team the best home field advantage or home ice advantage that you could possibly give a team. And I think it's outstanding what they're doing. It sucks for Red Wing fans, but I think it's interesting. I think it's great. I mean, I'd almost like it if Ken Holland came down and did the same exact thing. But the biggest wrinkle that kind of threw me for a loop, because when we were discussing what we were going to talk about earlier in the week, it was I had penciled in Jimmy Howard as the starting goalie for this game.
Why?
Because I figured he had earned it. Apparently not, though.
No,
Babcock came out and said, no, Mrazek's going to start over Howard, and that's the way it is. He said he took all the emotion out of it, and he just kind of watched the way they've played. So I was shocked. I was extremely shocked by this. I really shouldn't have been. Mrazek, over the course of the year, has been a much better goaltender. He's played about 55% of the amount of games that Howard has played. He's got more shutouts than him. He's got a better goals against. He's got a better save percentage than Howard. Howard's been struggling the last 20 games, giving up almost 3 goals a game. So I definitely shouldn't have been surprised by this. I don't know if this shocked you. I don't think this did shock you. I think you had thought that Mrazek was going to come in and start the whole time.
It makes perfect sense because now here's my theory, and here's what should happen. Even if Mrazek gets shelled, even if he just stinks it up, you don't go to Howard. You just let him ride it out and let him learn and get experience from the playoffs. If he sucks, he sucks. I don't want this to be like a situation where game 1 is Mrazek, game 2 is Howard, game 3 is Mrazek. Let's just, you made the decision, now own it and live with it. So I was telling a couple of buddies that we were talking about it. I just think that the best case scenario, this is not a team, the Red Wings, that we think is going to win the Stanley Cup. A run could happen, yes, but let Peter Mrazek gain the experience of being in a playoff series. This is only going to help him. And yet, no, I wasn't surprised that he got called upon because those last 2 goals that Howard gave up versus Montreal, hideous. You can't give up goals, brutal goals.
Oh my God.
And it's one of those things where you start Mrazek, who has a lot of confidence, who's just come off a long playoff run the last couple of seasons in the minors. Now, this will be a big step up, and this will be a big step up versus a team that can score the puck. That's why when you look at these lines and you break down, when you look at the Tampa Bay Lightning, this is going to be such a fun matchup, and I think this has the potential to go 6 or 7 games because you have a team like Tampa Bay who can score, and they roll 4 lines. They got a lot of players who have size and can do some damage to the Red Wings. Steve Yzerman has put together a team that has lots of players over 6'4", including the goaltender. And the best part of this matchup is Bishop, their goaltender, doesn't have a lot of playoff experience either. I don't think he has any. Now we get a chance to break down which lines are going to produce on both ends. And right off the bat, you really have to pay attention to Stamkos. Over 40 goals. This is a pesky player, a guy that with space on the ice will do some damage. Step 1 for the Red Wings, limit Stamkos' production in this series. You do that, you're going to be ahead of the game, and you're going to have a chance to have some success. Dude's on a line with Alex Killorn and Ryan Callahan. But if the Wings and the defense can stop him, step 1 will be okay.
Yeah, you're right. You got to stop Steven Stamkos. But the thing that is interesting about Tampa Bay, their best line is probably their second line.
I was going to talk about that. Yep, exactly.
Yeah, their second line is lethal and deadly, man. I mean, they're fast. They sit there and they can put up points. They can sit there, beat you up. So I think for the Wings, the thing that has to happen is they've got to play fast. Tampa's like one of the quickest teams out there. They like to move the puck, get it up and down the ice. The Wings have to match that pace of play. On top of that, the Wings got to play physical. If they can grind on Tampa Bay and their speedy forwards, that's going to help wear them down as the series goes on. And like you said, I think this is going to be a long series. I think you agree it's going to be a long series. I think these teams match up pretty well with each other, even though Tampa took 3 out of the 4 games this year. The other thing is the Wings have to stay out of the penalty box. Their penalty kill going into the playoffs was ranked 17th. It's been abysmal down the stretch here. It's been horrible. On top of it, the Wings have been one of the most penalized teams in the NHL all season, which is kind of a different shoe to wear. Wings usually aren't taking penalties, and especially for a team that doesn't fight, to have a ton of penalty minutes like they've had all season long, it's just kind of mind-blowing. That's just dumb plays. You're sitting there taking stupid penalties because you're out of position or you're fatigued. They got to stay out of the box. And they got to keep the puck out of the net, man. I mean, if they really want to win this, I know this sounds kind of like a no-brainer. Keep the puck out of the net, you're going to win. But depending on who's playing goal, the guys in front of them have to be big. They got to play big. That defense has to back up those forwards, and those forwards have to come back and back check in order for this team to win and to help support that goaltender, whoever that is, because that goalie position has been probably the shakiest leg on this entire team down the stretch here so far this season.
Dude, I love it because Tampa Bay, classic offensive team, and now the Red Wings have a set of defensive pairings that I really like. Eriksson with Kronwall. You're going to have DeKaiser with Marchenko, and when you watch Marchenko, you realize, wow, this guy's a great defenseman that doesn't make a lot of mistakes, that's kind of gotten seasoned over the course of this year. And by all accounts, Danny DeKaiser is our most productive defenseman. He's a guy that doesn't make a hell of a lot of mistakes. I love the pairing with Marchenko. And then finally, this pairing of Quincy and Zidlichki is great because we get rid of Brendan Smith. And, Smith and his, inconsistent play, I'm glad that Babcock has realized it and kept him off of this lineup. So the defensive pairings for the Red Wings I think are strong. I like it. But can Tampa Bay, with their size and strength, can they produce on offense consistently? That's going to be tough. And one of the things that's going to make it tough is on their power play, you would think with that offensive firepower that they would be more efficient. Their power play wasn't that good this year. And the Red Wings penalty kill can step up, can play well. So now we get to the nitty gritty. We get to see, which team is going to impose their will game in and game out. The good thing is about Tampa Bay, even though they do have size, it's not like they use their size like the Philadelphia Flyers where they just come in and pound you. They're not going to be trying to do that. They're going to be trying to, get up the ice as quick as possible, make that key pass, and get in and try to pepper Mrazek. But the team is huge. I mean, Steve Yzerman has put together a young team and a team that has a lot of talent. They're not as experienced as the Wings, though, and their young talent. It's just going to be interesting to see now which players on the Red Wings are going to step up during this run. If you're going to count on Zetterberg and Datsuk to carry this team offensively, there's going to be an issue because if you've watched and you're honest with yourself, Zetterberg is a step slow. He's called himself out on it, and he's done better when he's done that, but he's a little bit step slow. So guys like Ferraro...
Datsuk's been nursing an injury not all season, but down the stretch of the season as well, so you can't necessarily lean on him as hard as you'd like to either.
Yeah, and guys like Justin Abdelkader are hurt.
Yep.
So you're going to have to call upon guys like Darren Helm, Landon Ferraro, Riley Sheehan,
Thomas Tatar, Nyquist. Those two guys.
Secondary scoring.
Yes,
that's what we need.
Thomas Tatar and Gustav Nyquist are the two guys you're going to have to lean on to sit there and help carry this team. Your secondary scoring is going to have to be a guy like Henrik Zetterberg or Pavel Datsuk. It's almost like a role reversal here. And hopefully you can get Justin Abdelkader back before this season gets too deep. Because he's been a pleasant surprise. He's been a scoring presence. He's big. He's physical. He can go to the net, and he can put the puck in the back of the net. So you're absolutely right. You're going to have to get scoring from other places that's not named Henrik Zetterberg or Pavel Datsuk. So myself, I'm looking at Thomas Tatar and Gustav Nyquist to add the scoring punch. And you're right, Landon Ferraro, Riley Sheehan, those guys are going to have to contribute on a game-in, game-out basis. And a guy like Darren Helm, he's going to have to go out there. He'll have to put Darren Helm, let's be honest, Darren Helm can mess up a wet dream, right? I mean, that guy breaks in on the net, and somehow he screws it up. It doesn't make sense. The guy gets more breakaways than anybody in the NHL and can't find the back of the net. He's going to have to sit there and find some soft hands. He's going to have to bury a timely puck or two, and you're going to need him on the power play and the penalty kill because he's fast. He creates space for other players because he's so quick and he's so efficient at either getting the puck out of the zone or getting the puck into the zone. So you're right. Secondary scoring is going to be key, and I'm leaning on Thomas Tatar and I'm leaning on Gustav Nyquist for the Wings here. They've got to step up. This is their time to shine.
And we do have a player with some offensive touch that can be the unsung hero. Stephen Weiss can live up to that contract and can do some things on offense, then he'll be a pleasant surprise to add that scoring that we need. Because if we can't keep up with Tampa Bay in scoring, this is going to be a tough situation. And
Tampa Bay led the NHL in goals per game this year too.
Yeah.
So
it can be one of those
it's a team that can put the puck in the net.
This could be one of those situations where the Wings win the first game maybe easily because of Tampa Bay's nerves, and then Tampa Bay, if they get into the series, can do some damage. So in order for the Wings, in my opinion, to have success, they have to have a split. If they come back to the Joe 0-2, I give them no chance. So just get the first game. I think the first game is going to be important. But I'm just looking here, cuz in any situation, you have to talk about the goaltending. And the matchup is interesting in that Bishop is 7-2 lifetime against the Wings with a 1.68 goals against and a .936 save percentage.
But the thing is, the Wings have proven that you can get to him, and you can get to him fast, early, and just rack up goals on him in that 4-0 win that they had. If you can get Ben Bishop moving side to side, he's a big goalie. Big goalies have big holes. So you get him moving side to side, he'll open up a little bit, and once he opens up, you got enough snipers on this team that can put the puck behind him.
The question is, if Mrazek struggles and he's not the goaltender that we thought he was, and he gives up a couple goals in game 1, do we see Jimmy Howard? Should we see Jimmy Howard?
I don't think you see Jimmy Howard game 2. Here's the deal. As long as Peter Mrazek doesn't get shelled like he got shelled in that, it was like a 5-1 game, was it back in January? I think it was like the end of January or whatever. As long as Mrazek doesn't get shelled like he did, I think he gave up 5 goals on 15 shots or something like that. As long as Mrazek doesn't get shelled like that and doesn't look uneasy on that back end, I don't think we see Jimmy Howard. Should we see Jimmy Howard? I don't know. That's up for Babcock because I'm not sure what is going on with Jimmy Howard. I don't know if it's all mental, if it's physical, if he's still not 100% healthy. Jimmy Howard has now become a Rubik's Cube because you just got to try to figure him out. And I don't know what he is right now. And he seems almost resigned to the fact that Mrazek has come in and stole his job and just taken it away from him. And he says all the right things in the media, but if you read his body language, he just looks like he's defeated, like he's just waving the white flag. And you don't ever want to see that from a player. So I have no idea what Jimmy Howard is. I don't know if Jimmy Howard gets into this series, even if Mrazek does get beat up and peppered.
And I don't think a lot of Wings fans are saying, hey, if Peter Mrazek struggles, that Jimmy Howard will come in and be like Chris Osgood. I don't see that happening. If Jimmy Howard's in the net at any point in this series, you are not in good shape as a Wings fan. So let's just hope Mrazek does his thing and can live up to the pressure. He's got a lot of pressure on him. I just think that he can handle it. I really do. I believe that he's one of those players that can step up and wants to relish the situation. So no, I'm really hoping that Mike Babcock doesn't pull the trigger early if he struggles. But let's just look real fast a little bit at the lines that the Red Wings are likely to roll out there, maybe the top 2, and see what you think. Looks like opening top line will be Pavel Datsyuk centering Darren Helm and Thomas Tatar. That's a nice line.
It was nice. It's quick too. There's a lot of speed on that line.
Then you roll out second line.
Good hands too.
Henrik Zetterberg centering Stephen Weiss and Gustav Nyquist.
I don't like Stephen Weiss.
You don't like Weiss at that?
I don't like Weiss.
You don't think he's going to perform this series, huh? What don't you like about him?
He's slow. He turns the puck over. I know that he has put the puck in the net as of recent, but I just keep looking back at him and I just see everything that had led to him getting benched in the middle of the season. I just don't like it. I don't like it. If Abdicator's there, I think Abdicator's going to take his spot, which you would hope, but I would almost like to see, I don't know, Yurko go up there, Yurko move up. Anybody else. Maybe even put Riley Shahan up there, or let Riley Shahan center the line between Zetterberg and who'd you say, Nyquist?
Nyquist.
Yeah, maybe do that.
Third line, you got Thomas Yurko with Sheehan and Joachim Anderson, and rounding out the fourth line, Drew Miller, Luke Glendening, and Landon Ferraro.
I like that fourth line.
You like that fourth line?
I do like that fourth line. That fourth line, if they get hot enough, if the matchup is right, they can put the puck in the net, and they can cause a lot of havoc, a ton of havoc. I like that fourth line. That fourth line don't be surprised if that fourth line at certain points during this series is leading this team.
Okay, it's time. We're nearing the end of the podcast, so we will give our prediction. Now, the good thing is we'll have a chance to talk again and evaluate the first couple games and to reevaluate should our takes be awful. I like the Red Wings experience in this. It's a situation where the Wings...
You're going experience card.
I'm going the experience card.
All right.
Tampa Bay, yes, they're going to want to avenge their awful series last year versus Montreal. They don't want to relive that. They're going to give a great effort. But I really do think that the Wings, in terms of their talent and their motivation and their willingness to want to play well in front of Mrazek, can do some damage. So I like them to split in Tampa Bay. I think they're going to win both games in Detroit and slip up again in Tampa Bay, and then they come back to the Joe and take it down in 6 games. So if it goes 7, it's gonna be tough to say that I would go with the Red Wings in a Game 7 on the road. It's tough. They can do it, obviously. But my prediction, I'm hoping, I'm gonna go fanboy on this. I don't care. I'm going with the Red Wings in 6, taking it down with the experience and some clutch scoring by a lot of players that are gonna want to step up and earn their stripe.
You made a really good point earlier where you're talking about the lack of experience that Tampa Bay has. If the Wings can jump on them early, get Tampa Bay a little bit off their game, get them unsteady in the series, the Wings have a chance to win. If they get a couple bounces that go their way, 1 or 2, I think they have a chance to win. But in the end, I think there's way too much firepower on Tampa Bay's side. Tampa Bay has too many things going in their favor. The fact that they can score a lot of goals, that they don't need their power play to win games. The fact that they do have a huge goalie who is 7-2 against the Wings. The fact that they've got Steven Stamkos and they've got a second line centered by Tyler Johnson, who's just been a complete animal this season. All those things bode well for Tampa Bay, and I think Tampa Bay wins in 6.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm sorry, dude.
It's not happening? You're not feeling it?
I just don't see it. I just don't see it happening, man.
Oh.
I think there's too much firepower there for the Wings to sit there and try to overcome. I think you're right, though. I mean, the experience might be something that goes in the favor of Detroit, but I just think there's too much talent on that other side, and I think health's an issue, and I know the Wings aren't healthy going into this, and Peter Mrazek's a giant question mark. I know he does a lot of good things. He can win you games, but there are also games where he just looks abysmal and gives up huge goals and just gives up a ton of goals.
Doc does not like that
I know
take.
It's not favorable, man.
No, we're going to, and pay attention tonight. If you download this, if you check our Twitter page at Detroit Podcast, you may have a chance to win something from us here at the Detroit Sports Podcast.
Dude, it's beautiful, too. It's beautiful.
So check us out.
Absolutely beautiful.
We are all over social media. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. We're on Instagram. So if you're a fan of the Detroit Sports Podcast, please feel free to interact. I think we are one of the most interactive social media sites and one of the most crazy, passionate sports fans. Doc and Jock, the Motor City Sports Rant, Vinny, Jason, Adam, myself, anybody else out there that's crazy enough to want to do a podcast, we got a lot of respect for. Thank you so much for those that have supported us by going to the website. We appreciate it. And those that message us on Twitter, we love the banter. Look at this. You and I forgot to do the Instagram account a couple weeks. Mm-hmm. We were so busy pumping up opening day that we forgot the Instagram account and we got called out on it. They were like, hey, yeah, someone tweeted us and said, hey, where's the Instagram account of the week? And I was like, really? I was like, okay, tune in. We got to give it to you. So to end the podcast, great one this week. Damn! Instagram.com/LibbyPowell_. LIBBYPOWELL_. Oh my gosh. Brunette greatness. She's got 443,000 followers and she's a brunette and she's absolutely gorgeous. Her pictures are amazing. She's, very attractive, got a lot of good looks. And it's one of those things where she knows.
I like that. Whatever that pink shirt is right there. Whoa.
Libby Powell. Doc and Jock Instagram account of the week.
Dude, look at that. What?
Give her a follow.
Oh my goodness, dude.
Libby Powell _. And for those of you who don't download, check it out on our Twitter page. We will tweet out a link to it. No one has responded yet. None of the people that we've given credit to has favored it or retweeted it.
Dude, this chick looks outstanding in a bathing suit. I'm sorry, I'm stuck on this right now. Go ahead, keep talking.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's one of those things where when it's one of those things when you come across
she's sexy, bro.
An Instagram account like that, you go, oh, follow.
Oh my goodness, dude.
Do you think? Let's see.
Jesus.
Let's see.
I didn't even know they made women that look like this, man.
Yeah, they do.
Like, where can I go pick one of these up? Can I buy them at the store or something like that? I wish.
If she's on Twitter, you might be the first person that you actually tweet with and be like, hey, hello.
Dude, she is stunning, bro.
What are you gonna do?
Oh my God, just sit here and stare at all these pictures of her and her boobs.
For those fans of the Instagram account of the week, that's the one. Libby Powell. We will tweet it out there. Thank you.
Great selection, Doc. It's almost a great selection.
5-star selection from the Doc.
Oh, my goodness. I wish she made some dirty movies or something, dude. She'd be fun to watch.
As a friend would say, keeping it pervy.
That's right. Keeping it pervy, bro.
Thank you to our sponsors. If you want to become a sponsor of the Detroit Sports Podcast, check out our website. Easy way to get a hold of us, and Doc and Jock will deliver the goods, man. Check out jerseymounts.com. Mount your jersey in a great way.
I want to mount something right now.
For the Jock, Adam Strozinski, I am the Doc, John Macaroon, episode 88, Detroit Sports Podcast, coming to a close.
Go Wings, go Tigers.
Wings in 6.
I hear voices in my head, they counsel me, they understand, they talk to me.